Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Silver and Blood video, and I'm going to talk about the best SR units for free-to-play players to invest in, or even if you're just starting the game, even if you're not free-to-play, these are some good SR units that will serve you well. If you haven't seen my first video I made about Silver and Blood just yesterday, make sure you check that out where I talk about everything I love about the game and a few concerns that I have as well. You can watch that right after this video. It's linked down below in the description. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the best SR units. So units in this game are called vassals. That's going to be in the lower left. And the first one that I want to talk about is Iona. Iona is probably just the best SR that you can invest in. In general, most of Iona's versions are kind of busted. She has several SSR versions as well. She's a really interesting character, but even as an SR, she's really solid, and her main role is to be a healer, and there aren't that many different healers in the game. And so depending on what you pull, you might use Iona for quite a while, and she'll be useful in a lot of different game modes. Some specific things about her to keep in mind is her passive here, or they call it a special in this game. When the battle begins, allies one tile in front of Iona are granted Lunar Halo, and then once their HP falls below 60%, it will automatically restore 25% equal to Iona's max HP. And then that's like a one-time use thing. So you'll see it as like a glowing square on the grid when you're placing your units. If you put like your tank or the person that you think are going to take the most damage on that square, they'll have that like auto heal function. But just in general, she's got some really good healing abilities, a very solid unit. And I think she's a unit that you may use like I said, well into like the mid game or potentially even the late game, depending on who you pull. The next SR that I want to talk about is Gestel. Now, Gestel is a tank and a very, very good tank. So she's another one that I'm going to say you could use well into the mid game and potentially even after that, again, kind of depending on what you have. Her only real downside is the existence of Bella. And Bella is probably the best tank in the game, and she's a summoner, and everybody gets a copy of her. The thing is, let's see, I think it's over here in, no, it's not New Moon. What is it? First support? Down here, New Moon. So when you start the game, it can take quite a while. You can see I haven't even gotten to this point, but after you complete all these various tasks for game progression, you will get a copy of Bella no matter what, and everybody gets this. And Bella is super, super good. I just got really lucky and pulled a Bella early. In fact, I got a second copy of her, and so I'm using her, so I'm not really using Gestel. But that might not happen for you. It could be quite a while until you get your copy of Bella, and until then, you're gonna want a tank on your team, and Gestel can fill that role really, really well. The cool thing about her is that she can taunt. I don't remember. Oh yeah, here it is. Right here. And here it says taunt. Anybody who's taunted stops casting all skills, sets the caster as target, and it's unable to cast ultimate or special active during the effect. When the effect ends, the carrier will resume attacking their prior target. So taunt is really, really useful, and she can just take a lot of damage. She's a great tank. And you can use her, like, she's kind of equal to, I would say, general in power level to an SSR tank, Frederick. But even then, Gestel's ability to taunt still makes her uniquely really useful, even though she's only an SR. And she's going to be particularly good in PvP. I've seen some great PvP teams using her taunt ability. And yeah, don't underestimate Gestel. She's a unit that you can use pretty far into the game. She's also got a pretty cool design. She's got some physics going on. She's got a flaming shield. She's one that's going to serve you well. So Iona and Gestel, I think, are by far the best SR units. And after that, it kind of falls off, but there are some that can still be useful. So let's talk about Noah for a second. Noah is the main character, or at least the protagonist of the game, although I would argue that in a lot of ways, Iona is sort of like the main character. But anyway, Noah is kind of be your like proxy for the player. Yeah, anyway, I won't get too much into the story side of him. But anyway, silver-haired heretic Noah here. He's not particularly like remarkable in any way, but he's a solid unit. He can do AoE damage. He's kind of like a mid-range melee damage dealer. His ultimate ability kind of does like a half circle of damage in front of him. Just a solid unit. You could use him for a while until you get some better units. You're gonna need to, you know, level up your SR units up to level 160 anyway, until you can break that 160 wall, which is just like in Nikke, where you need 5 SSRs with max limit break on them. So a total of 4 copies on them. We have a wish list. I talked about it in the other video. You can go watch that again after this video if you haven't already. But anyway, so I mean, you're gonna want to level up these guys anyway. But Noah, again, he's just kind of like a solid all-rounder that you can keep using until you get, like, you know, better people to kind of fill those damage dealing roles. After that, let's talk about Seti. Now, to be honest, Seti isn't anything special, although her aesthetic is probably the best of any SR. She's definitely a personal favorite of mine. But, you know, the unique thing about her is that she is a ranged unit, okay? She's a marksman. And that is really useful because I would say in general, there's more close range or melee units than ranged units. And you're guaranteed to get Seti really early on in the game. And if you haven't pulled other ranged units, she can fill that role for you. And particularly in, what is it called? I think it's called the Time-Worn Mausoleum, over here. This is that mode where you just have like a long wave of enemies and you're crafting weapons and you can't move. That's the big distinctive thing about that game mode. So you're just stuck on the grid and your units cannot move with like a bunch of enemies coming at you. So having ranged units is really critical for that game mode specifically. And of course, ranged units in general are going to be good to have in your comps. So Seti can fill that role for you. There's 2 more units I want to talk about. And the first one of these last units, or I guess the next one I'm going to talk about, is Clive Jr. Clive Jr. is a summoner, which summons in general are going to be useful. And they have synergy with one of the special artifacts you can get, which are kind of like the cubes in Nikke. He has synergy with the Silver Shadow Chronometer. Ooh, I don't know why that was so hard to say. Silver Shadow Chronometer. And this will give bonuses for when your summons disappear. So keep that in mind. Again, he's not like amazing. And again, eventually you're going to get Bella, who is a tank and a summoner. But Clive Jr. can be pretty useful. Summons are just going to be good, so keep him in mind. And then you have Clive, which is the last unit that I'll talk about. And kind of, again, he's not super great, but he is a rush unit. So with a rush unit, as soon as the match starts, they will instantly move as far forward as they can into the enemy's territory, which allows them to hit like a back line of like ranged enemies or casters or healers and start hitting them when your other units would have to burn through all the units in front first to eventually get to them. So if you don't have another rush unit, Clive can be really, really useful in those situations. So keep him in mind. The other SRs, honestly, I would probably just stay away from. I mean, Imposa or Impusa can do like AoE, like range damage. You know, that's fine. Baphomet can do AoE damage, but I would say Impusa is better. Godric is a debuffer and just generally isn't good. He's not worth using. Funny character though. And then Goldland, another AoE damage dealer, but again, I'd probably use Impusa over him. But even she's like pretty mid. The ones that I talked about are the ones you want to pay attention to, and particularly Gestel is really solid and Iona is really solid as well. So let me know if you have any questions below. Also, if there are any specific things you want me to make videos about for Silver and Blood, I will be continuing to make some content for this. I've had a lot of fun with this game. It's really good, honestly. I recommend it, at least trying it. Maybe you don't stay with it. I'm playing it casually as a free-to-play player, but per usual, I'm diving in to do the research, doing my testing. That's just how I have fun with games, even if I'm like going free to play on something. So, all right, make sure you subscribe for more Silver and Blood videos, as well as Nikkei and Etheria, and I'll catch you guys on stream.